are we to think of newer styles of financing these projects? Because as you said, they are nuclear power projects are significantly capex heavy. You would have to think about it differently than what you would look at a conventional power plant as such.
See, let me give you one extreme example, and that's not a private sector example.
Sure.
Look at the financial structure of the bullet train. Japan through JICA has given 60-year money at 0.5% interest with a moratorium of 15 years. Now, just think about it. Think about that capital structure which enables a high capex bullet train project to be developed by a developing country like India. Now, I'm not saying you need that level of, shall I say, an extreme financing structure, which is very welcome. But if the state were to bundle a financial plan and then have and give it, and package it for, let's say, Japanese or Nordic or Gulf sovereign funds, and the government of India stood as sovereign guarantor to them and has a package which is long, low interest, high moratorium, and then distributed that finance to the developers of nuclear energy. Those are the kind of steps I'm looking at, that the state must be a partner, not just in creating an appropriate regulation, not just in supplying of regular fuel assurance at appropriate prices, but also to create a financial structure based on the strength of the Indian state and the confidence that people have that India never defaults, to stand as a sovereign guarantor to a very long-tailed, cheap finance available in a holistic manner, a line of credit, which it then cuts and makes available to the chosen developers of nuclear power. Those are the kind of thoughts that's going through my mind.
I want to ask you last couple of questions. Now, there is talk about allowing, considerable foreign direct investment. Of course, there's no confirmed news at this point in time. We don't have confirmations on this. But news reports have suggested a 49% FDI might be allowed for nuclear power projects. Is that kind of, when you say foreign capital is needed to develop these capacities in India, is that the kind of push that you're expecting?
Well, it's one of the elements. Allowing 49% is safe, 51% remains with Indian players. But remember, we ultimately, while we are developing SMRs with NPCL technology and our own initiatives, a wide variety of dependence will be there on foreign equipment suppliers. And there are just a handful of them, as I mentioned. There is Westinghouse, there is Hitachi GE, there is Areva, etc., etc. But giving 49% not only gets the capital in, but also gets the expertise in building and running these plants. And that would be welcome. And we have a case of 100% FDI. If you take the new airport outside Delhi at Jewar, it's 100% FDI by Zurich Airport. Bangalore Airport is owned also by largely with FDI, with Mr. Prem Vatsa's investment. So we have reached a stage where large portions of Indian infrastructure have welcomed coal thermal plants. We have foreign players who have invested. So giving 49% is logical, both from the view of attracting capital, as well as from the fact of accessing technology and competence.
One last actually, two more questions, but one question specifically, because the current geopolitical situation is talking about a nuclear power nation, which is being accused of developing weapons-grade nuclear power. What I wanted to understand is, in case there is some kind of geopolitical tension, what happens then? Does the presence of the private sector, does the involvement of the private sector sort of take away that kind of negative view around nuclear power?
I suppose so. I mean, as I started your session by saying, 70% of France's energy is nuclear. Does that mean that all of us are extremely wary about France as a nuclear power? No, we aren't. Because the uses of nuclear technology for civil nuclear power are vastly different from its usage in military applications. And you cannot deny the fact that across countries in the world, many countries have a high percentage of their energy needs coming from nuclear. So to my mind, they are in two separate bins. And I don't think that India increasing its share of nuclear would largely create any fright in the rest of the world, because India is considered a very mature player in this regard.